Hello guys, it's that one view guy here, also known as Matthew Adams, and today we'll be covering the classic 2014 Whiplash. To summarize this movie, it's about an aspiring young drummer who wants to become the best of the best and following the trials and tribulations that follow that, along with his teacher pushing him to the physical and ethical limits that he possibly can. Um, Now, how about we get into the review? So what I liked about this movie is the concept itself is very simple, but the layers that they add on to it are very successful. So, for example, there's parts of this movie where we see the struggle, both physically and mentally, for Hans to keep up with what his professor asks him to, Mr. Fletcher, and it takes a big toll on him. And I think that is done really well in this movie. Like, he feels like he is trying his absolute hardest and being pushed beyond what would normally be considered okay. Um, and I think that the professor does a great job of amping up the drama and amping up the feelings and emotions. You get this really nice touch of isolation throughout the movie. Um, and there's just these moments that are just nice and quiet, and it kind of makes you reflect and makes him reflect on what he's doing. There's a lot of like grief in this film and struggles, uh, at least that I felt. And then I think that the music in this film is phenomenal. um, it's very good. As someone who doesn't really listen to jazz music, I really enjoyed it. I think it was very tasteful. I think that it manages to make a very simple concept uh, very robust. Like, there's a lot of moments in this movie where you can laugh, you can have a serious face, you can really kind of feel the character and kind of relate with him in a sense. And then you also kind of see Fletcher's perspective too. So he's more of an antagonist than a villain necessarily. He's not redeemable by any means, but his character is done really well, where you can kind of understand his perspective. Um, and I think that was one of the best aspects of the film is the relationship between the two. You do have these other subplots, like um, a relationship and then the family dynamic as well, that aren't really touched on too much. That I think they do them very well. It helps to add to the isolation and the feeling of kind of lost that this movie gives you. Even when um, things are going well, they still feel like they're going bad, if that makes any sense. And I think that was one of the best takeaways from this film. I think that the pacing is on the slower side. I think that was a big issue. I was looking at the time multiple times to see uh, what time it was, because it felt like it was a 2 hour and 30 minute movie, even though it was like an hour and 30, hour and 45 minute movie. So I think the pacing is slow, especially near the start and kind of half middle point. The pacing is a little slow, um, but I think that there's parts in this movie that are very good. For child rating, I would rate this movie probably, maybe you'd want to be, I don't know, 14, 15 or above, preferably. There is swearing, there is a bit of blood throughout this movie, lots of comments people might have found offensive, though I found them hilarious, so that's just me. Um, but overall, I would rate this film probably about a 9. Everything in this movie is done very well. Pacing is probably its Achilles heel, if I had to say. And I also think that they could have touched a bit more on the film, but it also left me wanting more, which is something you really want in a film. So I would highly recommend this to anyone that wants to see it or has been debating on it. It is on Amazon Prime if you're in Canada, which is where I am from. Anyways, thank you, and make sure to like and subscribe if you can, and comment if you'd like. Thank you, and goodbye.